we think in the past, the knights had swords and they fought real battles in which a lot of people got killed and injured. The kind of knight that I would like to be is like Don Quixote, where instead of a sword, I actually have a guitar, where instead of shooting deadly artillery, we shoot beautiful sounds.
We're honored tonight to have with us the leading classical guitar ensemble in the world, the Romeros. Their father, Celedonio Romero, was knighted by the King of Spain in 1981, and in a few moments, following in his footsteps, his 3 sons will also be knighted.
That night was very emotional. I thought of my parents, how happy they would have been to see that. So it was very full of emotion, and to see that it was a life of, of work in order to get there.
We were once again in a place where the 3 of us probably feel the most comfortable, because we literally have been raised on the stage. But this time it was a little bit lonely because our father was not with us. And my mind was remembering when he was knighted and we were just watching. And now the book turned another chapter and he's gone. And now we were being knighted. There's an incredible joy to be making music with my nephew, my son, my 2 brothers, whether it's conducting or next to them with the guitar.
To the Romeros, the guitar is another limb. It's not separate from their body at all. They are expressing themselves entirely through this box. They always play it as if it's the first time they're playing it. That's so unique. I've heard Pepe, let's say, play Recuerdos de la Alhambra, I don't know how many times, but every single time he plays it with the most respect and love.
The ability of the Romero family to maintain through generations this incredible love and their virtuosity is, in my mind, unprecedented in the classical music world. I cannot think of any other instance where this ever has occurred through so many generations.
My earliest memory of playing the guitar was my father playing the guitar in the kitchen. And my father said, "Play with me." He was playing so beautifully. I started playing, and I thought I was producing that sound. He guided very, very small suggestions. Celine, put your hand a little bit here. Now, move a little bit there. And he did that with all my brothers and with myself.
My My earliest memory of playing the guitar is actually very confusing to me, whether it is listening to my father play or actually playing myself. There is not a clear line in my memory that differentiates between his playing and my own playing. For I came into this world listening to him play, and he left this world listening to me play.
I chased Papa wherever he was practicing or whatever, and I'd get him off of the concertos he was trying to learn or whatever to teach me before I even knew how to read music. And I would love to see him play the piece, and I was very quick to get it, just reverse the image and play it myself. I was 5 years old, and I remember performing that day, and I was playing Bach, of all things.
I think ultimately, Celedonio's love of his children and his love of his music is what carried everything through. And certainly Celine, Pepe, and Angel, they are turning around and doing the exact same thing with their children.
My father has always been a great father, and Pepe and Angel also just always told us,
if you want this road,
if you want,
you know, we'll help you to the best we can, and you do, you know,
you're just, it's in your blood, and it's up to you
to take advantage of it.
And all of them said pretty much the same thing. Occasionally, a little guilt, occasionally, but in general, they were just really, really relaxed about it. And I think that was also because they honestly believed that we eventually would be up there with them on stage.
Creating an amazing continuity. Their sons are now coming in to the quartet and performing with it. The only other parallel I can think of is among the gypsy families of southern Spain, where this type of apprenticeship and professional participation is handed down from father to son and father to daughter and so on, as in the flamenco world.
Very early years of my father's childhood. He was living in the mountains of Malaga. There he heard flamenco, played by the peasants and played by the folk people. He went with my grandmother to town in Malaga and looked and saw a guitar in a shop and fell in love with it, and his mother had to buy it. From that moment on, it was the most passionate love affair that I have ever seen any musician to have with any instrument. My father was very influenced by the sound of the flamenco guitar. as a young teenager, my father went to live in Malaga, and there fell in love with classical music.
What makes Celedonio so unique today as a classical guitarist, sets him apart from almost all other classical guitarists, is that not only was he a world-class performer, but most importantly, he was a composer. One of his concertos is the Concerto de Malaga, which incorporates all of his life experience within the flamenco world and within the classical music world also.
My father, he was a very spicy fellow, very romantic, serious. He was just, he had many colors to his personality. My father's Fantasia, it's one of those rare pieces that contain almost everything with the different tesaturas and little scales here and mixed with a little romantic thing and raseado. So this piece is a very good painting within himself of how he used the colors of the guitar.
My father always spoke to us about the purity of the sound. We had to be very careful that we take the string with a very gentle touch, move the string in, and release the sound. As we release the sound, we are aware of the string moving out, the sound moves out. And he made always very clear to us that each and every sound that we play never ends. It goes into the universe. And he used to tell us, each sound you make never dies.
Y yo clasifico que el canto de la guitarra es eterno. Es un canto tan eterno como los cementerios de luna, tan eterno como el brillo de las estrellas, eterno, infinitamente eterno.
going back to Malaga is going back to the beginning. I want to go back not only to pay tribute to the land that gave us my father and my mother, but to bring there the new generations of Romeros, so that the Romeros will continue to still have that magical thing that comes from that land. My brothers and I belong to a generation that knew the romantic Spain. We lived and experienced the Madrid of Moreno Torroba. We lived and experienced the Seville that Garcia Lorca wrote about. We were fortunate to grow up in that Spain. Spain had a childlike innocence that really gives tremendous power to its music.
Muy bien.
Yes, ¿no?
Muy bien.
Malaga is part of the formula. My first breaths were taken in Malaga. It's important. Where you are born, there's always something that draws you to it. It's almost like a rediscovery of myself every time I go. Malagueños are very, very passionate about Malaga. And my father was a true malagueño.
Celedonio Romero se hizo el mejor músico de Málaga. Celedonio Romero, hay que decir que después de Picasso, o conjuntamente con Picasso, Celedonio Romero y Picasso son los dos malagueños más internacionales.
Para nosotros es un honor, un orgullo de que Málaga le rinda ese homenaje a un hijo que tanto la quiso y que con tanta dignidad y con tanto arte llevó la esencia de Málaga por todas las esquinas del mundo. Muchas gracias.
It always is a wonderful experience to take Celino and Lito to Malaga. Then to be in the Teatro Cervantes, which is the oldest concert hall in Malaga. And that is the place where I went to concerts of my father since I was very little. Then to be playing also the Joaquin Rodrigo concerto in Spain, it was extra special.
I remember falling in love listening to my father play Rodrigo, and then falling in love with the nostalgic modes in which Rodrigo longs for the Spain of the past.
Going back to Malaga has always been special. Celino and I have been going back since we were little. We'd go, you know, summers, and it has always been a special place. You know, that we always shown the streets where my grandfather and our fathers lived and were raised, and the, you know, different apartments and houses. And for us, it's an incredible experience to play for the Spanish public there in Malaga and to continue our, you know, our music there.
balcón.
Esta era la
Esta
casa.
era la casa, este era el estudio de Tita Loli y donde papá.
Donde venía papá aquí
donde
y hablaba con mamá.
El principio.
Sí. My mother's sister saw this very young guitar teacher, and she wanted to hire him to teach her guitar. And the guitar teacher came to the door, and it was my father dressed in a black suit with a black bow tie,
Like Zorro.
and glasses,
Fully with a hair.
and glasses, and he was like 16 years old or something.
Very,
like
very
that.
thin.
And Mama opened the door and says, "Yes?
What do you
Said,
want?
I am the guitar teacher." And she says, "But you are a boy." And Papa answered, "But I am Celedonio Romero." So Mama invited him to come into the house and says, "Okay, play a piece for us." So he played the Malat Serenade. And Mama fell in love with his playing, with his romanticism. And he fell in love with the way she wrote. And Papa and Mama went to a dance, and all her family went. But Papa found a moment in which he tried to kiss my mother.
Yes.
And my mother pushed him away. And just a few days later, he asked her to listen to a composition that was being played that evening on the radio. And it was Tango Angelita. And it was a proposal to my mother, saying all I wanted was a kiss.
That's what the words say.
That's the beginning. That's the beginning of it.
¿Cuál es la parte?
Sí.
Tan solo un beso de ti quería.
All I wanted was a kiss from you.
Besar tus labios
Kiss your
con
mouth.
frenesí.
With such
Sentir tu
frenzy.
boca junto a la mía.
To feel your mouth next to mine.
Y con el alma cantarte
And with my
así.
soul to sing to you.
Ángela.
When I was about 3 years old, we moved. The trip to Malaga was really fantastic. We went to La Calle de Inestroza, and I don't have much recollection of that house because I was born there. But my mother and my father did talk to me so much about it, and they had such a wonderful way of explaining things that I almost think I saw it.
Celine nació a las 10 de la noche y a la mañana siguiente, a las 8 de la mañana, 9 aviones bombardearon Málaga. Bombardearon, se veían las bombas caer. Entonces Angelita me dijo,
Llévate al niño al refugio.
Llévate al niño al refugio, vete al refugio. Yo dije, no, si morimos, morimos los tres. Entonces me puse encima en la cama,
Oye,
esperando
pero
la muerte.
cuenta un momento que yo naciendo,
Sí.
¿eh? Los aviones
Tirando bombas.
tirando. ¿Y tú qué estabas haciendo?
Yo estaba haciendo una transcripción de Cádiz de Albéniz. Estaba aquella noche
Sí.
que nació Celine, yo estaba con una vela,
Sí.
no luz, una vela, haciendo la transcripción de Cádiz de Albéniz.
No, eso es amor, eso es amor a la guitarra.
No, ahí está, entro yo.
¿Y dónde
Porque
estoy?
tú comprenderás
Espérate,
que una mujer que está teniendo un niño y está tan malita, no tiene ganas de ver un transcriptor la vela.
Exacto. Otra.
In 1936, Franco started the Civil War. Celine was born in a very famous day. In the war, 9 German planes bombed Malaga severely. When Franco had taken over Malaga, my father was put in jail, along with all the other artists and intellectuals. My father had some friends that were in the side of Franco. They said Celedonio is an artist, but he's not a political man. And my father was released.
My father, he was known for not being a sympathizer with the Franco regime. He was, all my uncles, they were from the left, they fought with the Republic, and my father was cut off.
Celedonio Romero se embarca en elegir entre Franco y la libertad. Y elige claramente la libertad.
Tuve que buscar por el mundo dónde ir. Y claro, como casi todos los que queremos irnos de nuestro país, decidió irse a Estados Unidos. Se fue a Estados Unidos con una gran valentía, tú sabes que no tenía una peseta. Y tiene su Celín, su Pepote y su Ángel.
I remember traveling from Spain to the United States, and I slept most of the way on Celine's shoulder. I was 10.5 years old, and Celine was already 20. We very much lived the moment when we left Spain. We've remained with our roots and firmly on the ground. You know, the Carnegie Halls and of the world, and the music varieties and conducting and the major orchestras, everything. It still is wonderful, but we are still the family that came from Spain.
Coming to America, of course, we came here, the time when fast, we all got cars, we started dating, we started going out and experiencing and enjoying the America of the late 50s, which was a wonderful experience.
Well, do you wanna dance in the hold my hand? Squeeze me in the arm, your middle, baby. Do you wanna dance?
The quartet was started in a very natural way, joining my father in a concert in Santa Barbara in 1959. Celine and I, officially in the program. Angel cried. He wanted to play also. So my father said, if you practice, you can play 2 pieces at the end. And the end of the concert came, and Angel came out, and he played 2 pieces, and then he stayed on the stage. That was really the birth of the quartet, even though we did not play all 4 of us at the same time. That took place in January 1960, where I remember that we played my father's Malagueñas. The feeling we had when all 4 guitars played at the same time, it was tremendous.
Romero Quartet was such a novel, unique item. It really took the art world by storm. The Romeros were not afraid to go into this situation and take classical music to the popular public, and the popular public loved it.
happened, Celine? At the Ed Sullivan, Angel and Papa were upstairs. You and I were told, let's go to the stage. It's now. And you and I sat on the stage, just the two of us. Nancy Sinatra was running upstairs looking for Papa and Angel. And Ed Sullivan starts to announce.
So tonight we have 4 flamenco classical guitarists. So let's welcome the Romeros.
You will see that when he announced, he does a complete take because he looks over to where we are and sees that there's only 2 of us. And just as he says, and now the Romeros, Nancy Sinatra had gotten a hold of Papa and Angel. The 2 of them appear from inside the curtain and we begin playing.
The first concert in America, the people practically they jump into the stage. It was something not seen in classical guitar concerts.
When we started to concertize, Segovia had already played for a long time in the major cities of the United States. He had set a standard of what great classical guitar playing was.
Segovia really was only interested to go into the most lofty concert halls, the same halls that the Rubinstein or Jascha Heifetz or performers of this category were playing in. He wanted to do everything possible to avoid the image of the guitar as this popular folkloric instrument. The Romero Quartet appealed to an audience that included Segovia's listeners and also transcended it because the Romeros were not afraid to bring this joyous aspect of their art to people. It was the first time a quartet of guitars had ever been formed, and each one was a world-class virtuoso. And that enabled them to arrange music in ways that they could dialogue off of each other. So it made for some very exciting musical presentations.
In a way, you're seeing an ensemble, but in a way, you're seeing four different players doing their own thing at the same time. Because they're all soloists, you know, too.
What I admire the most about the way that my 2 brothers play is when you hear any one of my brothers, if you pay a little bit of attention, you really know them. Angel is very flamboyant. Celine is a very, very passionate man, but the outer layer is more reserved. I think that my style is somewhere in the middle between Celine and Angel, just like I am physically situated by age in the middle of the two of them. I think that musically, I either will tend to go to one side or to the other. Years ago, the city of San Diego commissioned Morton Gould to compose this concerto for us. We came to San Diego to rehearse it and fell in love with the city. Within a month, all four of us had moved to Del Mar. I think of San Diego as the American Malaga. The ocean, the flowers, the climate, and the fact that we were bringing up our children in a very similar natural environment to Malaga. But even when we lived in separate houses, we remained living in very tight quarters because of our work, and we've had fights. They were always the normal things that brothers and family quarrel about.
The quartet was an army with sometimes 4 generals, but always with the supreme commander, with my father. And at one point, I couldn't devote all the time and all the energy that I had to either to the quartet or being a soloist all over the world playing. And so I broke away from the quartet. I respected the quartet so much that I did not want for it to suffer from my schedule. And I decided to just go on with what I came into life with and how I would live myself, by myself. When I conduct, I can make music in the grand style because the guitar is magnificent. But the great power and the grandeur of the orchestra, there's nothing like that.
To listen to Angel and to watch him as a conductor is fascinating, it's wonderful. He has such a passionate way in which he feels his own ideas and in which he transmits them to other people, that it makes him a total natural conductor.
There's been a lot of violinists that have become conductors or whatever, but pretty much in the world of the guitar. I did something that is very unique by performing and conducting. Now I have to have you guys as my soloists.
What do you mean?
When I left the quartet, of course, there was some animosities, which even we being the most loving family, then itself can create history. But it's one of those things that happen. You know, like life. You can't point your finger at who did what. It just happens.
The quartet has had a wonderful evolution and a wonderful way in which it has gone through natural changes. If Angel had not left the quartet when he did, it would not have opened the door for Celino to come in. I remember the first time that Celino played with orchestra with the quartet. Celino was playing second guitar. And when the second guitar takes the melody, he was doing it beautifully. I looked at my father and he had tears running down his face.
When we found out that Celedonio had lung cancer, our lives changed drastically. The sons canceled concerts, postponed concerts, stayed home much more often than they have in the last 20 years so that they could be close to their father.
Tocaremos siempre, siempre para ti y tú siempre tocarás a través de nosotros.
Y yo seguiré esperando allí arriba en las estrellas.
Y allí nos vemos.
Y allí nos veremos todos.
Allí
El cuarteto.
Allí tenemos cita.
Siempre.
Allí tenemos cita.
Allí tenemos cita.
Allí estamos citados.
The day that Celedonio died, Celine, Claudia, Pepe, and myself moved in to their home and stayed here with Angelita.
Knowing Mama and living with her was really very much changing my life. Mama had a certain gift, giving other people a different feeling about life. And I think that's what she did with her family, with her sons.
Angelita was an inspiration to me mainly because she was strong enough to be the mother of these 3 sons and strong enough to be the wife of Celedonio. And yet her softness and her embracing of all people was so beautiful.
Carissa and Claudia were unbelievable with my mother, and they became her students on how to deal with difficult Spanish guitarists.
The name of this piece is La Andaluza, the Andalusian. And my mother was very Andalusian. So when I was in front of my mother for a final time, this is what spontaneous out of became this piece.
I'm absolutely sure that the spirits of Celedonio Angelita are watching over us with great interest and with great help. And I think that in their absence, these 2nd and 3rd and 4th generation Romeros are going to rise to the occasion. Although Pepe Jr. showed all the trademark Romero talent, he has chosen to serve the guitar as a builder. Angel's son, Lito, joined the quartet after Papa passed away and amazed us with his ability for ensemble playing. Celino is now a veteran concert artist. and he has begun thinking about the future and new musical directions. Things will never be the same after the patriarch and matriarch are gone. I think that the three sons actually have the responsibility to formulate a new family order for themselves and for their family.
Hi there, guys. Come on in. There's a party. Well, take me to it. Come on.
Please, no. Yo digo, ¿cómo es? No, este es el de la rumba. Fíjate ahí.
Venga.
Ella conmigo.
Las dos con la escobilla.
La escobilla, venga.
Vamos a ver, la escobilla. ¡Eh! Asa, carizalita.
What do you think we sit here? We need to unwrap it here. Let's take it outside and hang it up. This comes from Seoul, Korea, and on the way to the concert hall.
It was in a huge building.
Yes.
But it was quite amazing just getting there and see that huge poster.
But the Koreans love to do things in a big way.
Don't put all your weight.
Any accomplishment that any member of my family does belongs to all of us. Because any accomplishment apart from the family could never have been done without the family. For the rest of my life, I want to be able to pass this to the young generation. I want my grandchildren to experience music and to experience family in the way that I did. To the guitar that has brought all of us together, to the love of family, to friendship, and to the two great cooks that have made this incredible pie.
So hard.
It's really difficult. And here's to the greatest guitar family on the face of the earth.
Thank you.
Thank you. At least the family with the biggest poster. Who knows the future? But I see that the world will continue. I have 4 grandchildren, Pepe and Angel also has 4. All of them
they have a great love for the guitar. When they picked it up, they pick it with some style. I hope that this spark of love that we have for this instrument will continue.
The original feeling that I have of playing with the quartet remains in my memory and my heart, and it will never be duplicated. And I miss the quartet. I miss it very deeply. It brings me close to my brothers, to be on stage with them again. And it's a lot of fun to be on stage with Lito, because now I feel like what my father used to feel with me, looking over his shoulder on stage.
When my brothers and I were very young, we knew that we would be together and that we would do things together and that we would perform together.
Now I am going to impose the badges of the Order of Isabel la Católica to Celedonio, Pepe, and Uncle Romero.
When we received this honor together, it was the realization of a promise that we made silently to ourselves. None of us said it to the other one, but we all made a silent promise to remain together till the end.